welcome to the Harvard Business School online event. My name is Gwen Mdinaradze. I'm the President and CEO of Speakers Alliance Canada and the Harvard Business School online Global Chapter Facilitator. Today, it is my great pleasure to celebrate great women within our community and lead the panel discussion. Due to the high volume of women who were willing to join the panel discussion today, I'm going to facilitate the second event and celebrate great women on March 26th. So you still have time to apply and send the information about your achievements. And how will you influence and encourage our audience members at gwen@speakersalliance.ca. Today's agenda is as follows. I will start the discussion and will tell you more about myself, and then each panelist will have the opportunity to share their success stories and maybe challenges as well during a 5 to 10 minute speech. At the end of the event, I will lead the question and answer session as well. I want to thank you for joining us today, and I want to ask you if it's convenient for you, please keep your video on. And as a part of the panel discussion, I would like to tell you a bit about myself and some of the achievements during this pandemic. Here, many of us have taken at least one course at Harvard, and this is going to be my question to the panelists. So mine was the Management Essentials program by Joseph Fuller and a late Professor David Garvin. After gaining significant knowledge in management, change management, psychological safety, and team management through the Harvard course and my own independent research, I started my entrepreneurial career and have founded Speakers Alliance Canada. I remember when I was registering the company, I was 9 months pregnant and had some consultations with the lawyer from the delivery room as well. So women are stronger than others can imagine. And, we can multitask, raise children, look after the family, study and run our company, or be a successful employee in the company at the same time. The other day, I remember when I met Rosario for the first time, she introduced us her baby when I was holding mine during the event. So it was so exciting. And at the beginning of my journey, so many people were skeptical and they questioned whether we would survive. It was in the midst of the pandemic and the economic crisis. So today, I am proud to announce that we survived in this crisis. And, I do the work I love the most with my amazing team. So what I want to highlight is it really doesn't matter what people are saying. Most important is to keep hope and believe in ourselves, and everything will be perfect. We will reach our goals. And besides this, as a successful entrepreneur, I have been featured in multiple universities as a guest lecturer and have spoken about entrepreneurship and innovation. And my lectures are structured with my trademarked formula, PDC, that helps startup entrepreneurs to survive and move on to the next level, such as survival and existence level. So if you're struggling right now or thinking that this is the end and your idea failed, or you might not be promoted, if you're hopeless, I really want to share my own story that I am originally from a developing country, the Republic of Georgia, which is Eastern Europe. And I came from many challenges and moved to North America with zero connections, literally zero connections. Then went to Harvard and started my company with zero investment. And before Harvard, I went to another university where some professors were disrespectful to the female students. And one of them said during the course introduction that if you have any other commitments rather than my course, such as family, upcoming wedding, or you are expecting a baby, I encourage you to drop off my course as it will be very challenging for you. So what I did was I dropped it off and went to Harvard, where everyone was so welcoming and they trusted us, trusted our potential. And I just want to say a huge thank you to the global chapter and generally this community to give us this opportunity. So now I would like to introduce to you our panelists, 5 amazing women from all over the world. These women are Rosario Ariza Garcia. Rosario represents the Colombia chapter and she is an internal communication specialist at Blackboard. Hi, Rosario. The next panelist is Petia Maximova. Petia managed enterprise sales and client success at Canva visual AI startup Kaleido. She represents Vienna chapter. And also Petia is a member of the Munich chapter where she, Andreas Altenberg, and other fellow organizers create the podcast channel, Pain and Gain. It is available for all chapter members to use. The first 3 events in the Munich chapter, Women in Leadership series, are now available in podcast format on Spotify and at paingainpodcast.com. So Petia co-moderates the second event with the Chief People Officer of Walmart. So it is incredible pleasure for me to collaborate with such amazing leaders such as Petia, Andreas, and other chapter organizers from Europe. The next panelist is Ijeoma Nwakuche. Ijeoma is a general manager at Mars Multi-Concepts Ltd, a Nigerian logistic company. Then the next panelist is Emi Shitara. Emi is the president of the Japan Brand Communication and represents Japan chapter. And Mona Sarghie is an owner and a senior consultant at Head Start. Thank you, ladies, for joining us today and for celebrating International Women's Day with the Harvard Business School Online Global Chapter. So nice to see you, all of you together. Please unmute yourself, and I'm going to start with Ijeoma.
Hi, Gwen.
Hi. Thanks for joining us today, Ijeoma. I want to start with you. Let's get started and share with us, your experience. Where are you coming from? Where are you right now? And which course have you taken at Harvard?
Okay, thank you, Gwen, for the introduction. So, like you said, I work with a logistics company, Mars Multi-Concept, and I'm a general manager in this company. And if you know a bit about logistics, it's a predominantly male environment. So being a woman here in this industry has been a very interesting experience that I'll be happy to share. So what course have I taken at Harvard? I also did the Management Essentials with you. Remember how we met? Yeah. I did the Management Essentials as well, and it was a very fantastic experience, very rewarding, teaching about the processes for management and leadership. And I think that course has really advanced me in the way that I work here, in my workplace. So where am I coming from? So basically, a bit of background. I've always been in a predominantly male environment. I studied geology in school. And at the time when I studied geology, the course, we were maybe 20% female in a class of over 100. So we weren't a lot, you see. But I think for me, that was sort of a training ground for me to just get comfortable in an environment where I can compete with both men and women alike, because I know that today it's a big challenge for people where they say they find themselves to be the only woman in the room. And so they start to suffer imposter syndrome. But I think over the years, I was lucky to be trained early enough, being in classrooms or being on field trips with a lot of men. And And that has just generally made me confident in who I am, even through my career in the oil and gas industry. So
Mm-hmm.
it's been 15 years in the oil and gas industry.
Wow.
And yeah, and we're pushing it. That's my journey so far.
Mm-hmm. And as I remember, you have children, right?
I do.
So you manage, this is a huge, huge thing to manage your family and your career. So tell us how you do.
Indeed. I mean, I have 3 children.
Oh my
Yes,
God.
I
I
have
have two, and it's been so hard.
yeah. So if you add one more to that, that's like double what you have. Yeah. So
Wow.
it's quite it's quite interesting. I wouldn't use the word challenging because I think over time I've learned how to juggle
Right.
work and family life. So my first son is about 11. He's going on 11 in April. And then I have a 9-year-old and a 4-year-old. So I think I've been actively pregnant and giving birth during my career, you see, because I've worked for about 15 years and my firstborn is 11. So I have literally been in between maternity leaves and all of that. So before I come to how I've managed to find a routine, it's been an interesting journey because I had a particular incident where I was pregnant while looking for a job. Okay. And I work in Nigeria where there's a high rate of unemployment. So for you to be out of a job and pregnant, that's like a double whammy. That's a really bad situation because if you were looking for a job and you were not pregnant, then it's a bit difficult. Then you're now pregnant as a woman. You now find yourself in a situation where you have some employers saying to themselves, are we ready to get a woman on board who's pregnant? You see, so at the time, I was pregnant for my second son, and the company I was working for had to leave Nigeria. The head office had said, we're closing business in Nigeria, we're moving out. And so I remember going for a few job interviews and saying to myself, I don't know if I'm going to get this job, so I have to dress in a manner that doesn't show that I'm pregnant. So you see, these are a few of the things that we face as women. And it's not like I was deliberately trying to conceal the pregnancy, but I wanted to be given a fair chance. I wanted to be judged on the basis of my qualification, of my competence, and of my skills. And then, I mean, thankfully, eventually, I got 2 roles, and I was trying to decide between the 2 roles. And I remember someone there to me saying to me, you shouldn't be choosing, you should be lucky that they've given you a job because you're pregnant. And it was a bit of a shocker because it was like, I'm pregnant, I'm not sick, but it was a case of
of course.
you should find yourself lucky that you got a job because you're pregnant. So just get on with it and stop being picky. And I remember I went on to take a role, and one of the roles, and it's been an interesting journey so far. But how do I juggle family and work? I have come to terms with an acronym that works for me. And I will share that acronym with you today. It's called the CAPS, CAPS, okay? And I'll tell you what it means. C, okay? C stands for co-parenting. So you always need your partner or your spouse on board to make this work. Right. If you're going to have to carry the whole weight and responsibilities of raising children yourself, it gets harder. And I'm sure there are some people that are single moms and they can attest to this. They know how difficult it could get because you're the only person available to go to pick the kids from school, to take to hospital, to go for their inter-house sports day or functions in school. But if you're lucky enough to have a spouse that is supportive or a partner that is supportive, then that helps you to thrive. And my husband is one of my biggest supporters of my career. For that, I'm very grateful. He encourages me to just be the best that I can be at work. So co-parenting, right? A is for adaptability. So I think as a woman that is raising a family and doing a job, you need to know that I need to know when the seasons have changed. I need to know when I need to push forward. I need to know when I need to step back a bit. I need to know when I need to change roles. And these are all the things that you need to be aware of. So you need to be adaptable, and that's the only way you will survive. And P is for priorities. You always need to know your priorities. Because if you don't know your priorities, you get everything messed up. In some seasons of your life, it could be your child. You might have a child that needs extra care or attention at home. It could be some personal problem. And at that point, it's okay to say, I'm going to step back from my career and focus on this for this season. And then when I'm ready, I go back. And then S is your support system. You need a support system. So beyond your spouse, you need to outsource some things. You will not be able to do everything yourself, right? So sometimes you may need to get a nanny, you may need to get a coach for the children, a tutor at home if you can afford it. You may need to get your sister or your cousin to come and help you babysit, but you need to leverage the support system you have around you. So next time, ladies, if you're thinking of how to juggle all these balls, or even the men here on the call, think CAPS, yeah? Co-parenting, adaptability, priorities, and support system.
Wow, that's amazing. Thanks for sharing, Ijeoma.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna make a note. Wow. So the next panelist is Petia. Hi, Petia. Thanks for joining us today. I want to first ask you about the podcast, Pain Gain podcast, to tell us a bit about the podcast, and then to tell us about your background, where are you coming from, and which course have you taken at Harvard? You're on mute. Let me unmute you.
Great, thank you very much. So thank you for having me. This is such an honor. And oh my God, what a great story so far. Really inspiring. So the podcast that Andreas created and that we manage on the Munich chapter side is just focuses on conversations that are very meaningful. Very different activities. One of the highlights was that I participated in was a conversations with women who we find inspiring, who have achieved a lot of significant things that would inspire the rest of us. And so I thought, what a great way to reach out to them and give them a space where they can share their stories as well, and speak from a perspective of someone who's traveled that path already and share that with us. And so far we had Donna Morris from Walmart. We also had Irana Wasti, who the president of EMEA for GoDaddy. She subsequently moved on to another position, but two incredible women who also came from backgrounds that they weren't privileged or anything. They didn't have connections or anything like that. They just paved their own way in roles that are also predominantly male. But that's basically what that conversation focuses on. There's other events that also happen within the chapter and the podcast that we do. So I do encourage everyone to check that out. As far as the classes that I've taken at Harvard, so I'm actually still doing my prerequisites to do my master program at Harvard in finance. So I've taken the core class, which I actually literally just finished doing my finals. And to be honest, so I did this so October until literally this last week. And it's been one of the most incredible experiences. I hope I passed, which I think I did. And I'm on my way. I've done all the other prerequisites. I think I'm already in the master program, which is super exciting. But yeah, I feel like I've had this marathon that I signed on, and it's been a huge challenge for me, because juggling my career right now, which is just after a series of trying to achieve where I wanted to be right now, it's exactly where it actually is, plus handling this really demanding course. It's been really challenging, and to some level, I think I managed, because of the fact that we are in this pandemic and I can't go out, I don't have other things to do, so I can manage my time really well. It still has been challenging though, but yeah, definitely a great course.
Is this the only course that you have taken?
No, I've actually taken other courses at Harvard online, and I took negotiation mastery. I think I took also the disruptive strategy. Both courses were incredible. In negotiation, I mean, first of all, I just love negotiations to begin with, but they offered this scientific approach to negotiations, which was incredibly helpful. Different perspectives, that's the one of the things that I love obviously about Harvard, but giving you different perspectives, different methodologies, different ways of how you can do things. And then you can find your own voice within that. So, because you're never graded there by what you copy or what you see in other people, you really have to bring your own perspective to the table. But it's really nice to see different styles. And one of the highlights for me, there were definitely a lot of highlights, including the actual simulation of negotiations, which are pretty tough, I have to say. And a lot of the people who sign up for these classes are pretty experienced. But one of the highlights was ex-FBI negotiation hostage negotiator Chris Voss, who shared his perspective as well. So I feel like I learned a lot from him.
Wow.
Disruptive strategy is an incredible class as well. I honestly recommend this course to everyone. It's one of those things when you have experience, you think you know business, but that course just literally changes so many, just your world, your perspective on business in general. It really opens up a whole different level of how you can approach things.
Was this course by Clayton Christensen?
Yes, yes. It was very applicable too, because I work in a startup, but I've also worked in corporate environment. So to have a little bit of theory, but also put it in practice, it was really useful for me to create my own strategies, because I lead the team and I'm the most experienced person in that area. So I have to pull information from sources that are very credible, like Harvard, for example, or my own experience. And so it was really amazing to have that broader perspective. And also it really encouraged me to think about innovation as something that is just necessary right now. You really have to be innovative. You can't copy other formulas for success. You really have to find your own formula. So whether it's for your personal development or the business that you're handling, it really depends on what works for you. So trying different things and being able to innovate constantly instead of being scared, for example, from competition, and creating more value is just something incredible that this course just opened up my mind on how you can do that.
Right. Do you think that core is more challenging than other courses because it contains 3 different courses?
I mean, yes, I have to say, and for me, and that's something that I wanted to share in terms of an advice on how you can get to where you want to go. I have the habit of, I have very clear goals of where I want to be. And to get there, I sort of identify the key areas of knowledge that I'm lacking, and then I have to develop. And so I knew business analytics, for example, and financial accounting were one of those areas where I really needed to push forward. And so it was challenging in that sense. If you have more experience, I think it really depends on the level of experience you have. So for me, it was definitely challenging, not only from the perspective that I didn't have that much of experience in those areas. So I had to do double the work of what someone that is coming from, from a background that is in that area. And I have to say, it was one of those things that really pushed me out of my comfort zone. And I guess that's the other thing that I wanted to share. Just every time that I have found myself stepping up or moving up or just getting closer to where I want to be, it's always been when I get out of my comfort zone. So that course really, it was it. I had to find a way to stay motivated, doing my job full time, which right now it does require a lot of focus. I'm managing 2 teams, they're growing. We just got acquired by this incredible company. So a lot of things are happening, amazing things. And I really have to be on top, because also I have to manage the people that work for me. So I have to inspire them as well on some level and be an example. And so I realized early on in the program that to manage the load of knowledge that I had to pass this course, or even to just get the most out of it, I had to become even better at time management. So really staying on top of, studying every single day, going by my calendar, and just keeping my priorities straight, and not missing even one day was just really key for me. And just not giving up when I at one point, I just remember, like, I just want to watch Netflix, like not do anything, because, it's just really don't have time. But always remember in those times, because and then you get like this tiredness too. It's like, okay, I'm achieving it, it's good, but then it's like, oh my God, I just, you know, a moment where you're just a little tired of everything. And I think that's really key. How do you keep going? And I just, the way that I find inspiration to go forward, I just try to remember that I chose this. I created this opportunity for myself. I worked for this opportunity. I'm financing this by myself. There was a reason behind this. And so it really makes me go forward, and that's how I find a way. And so that's, I guess, and I mean, it is challenging, but I think that's something that I wanted to share. At the end, it's worth it. It's almost like signing up for a marathon, and then you just keep going. And at the end, when you pass it, it just, wow, this like whole new level of knowledge that is in my head now that I can actually apply. And it's really worth it when you challenge yourself, when you put yourself outside of your comfort zone. That's key to growth. And I would say that's basically what's worked for me always. I come from a country also that doesn't have many opportunities, or at least back when I was there, Bulgaria. I was fortunate enough where my parents sent me to the United States. I was educated there. One thing that I've always done was that I just basically created my own opportunities. I was never really given anything as well. So I remember even my first job when it was in sales, but it was in an independent film company in New York, which was pretty well known. So there were tons of applicants, and I had to get that job. It was just an assistant job, but there were so many applicants. And I remember I read a book, like, I don't know, in 2 days on financing and the legal and the sales part of independent film, and I loved it. And I contacted the author to ask him if he could be my reference. And he,
Wow.
he must have been really surprised, but he actually ended up calling me back. We had a conversation, and he ended up being the most, like, one of the top 10 entertainment attorneys in the US. And so, yeah, so he became my reference. Wow. And that's how I got for a job.
Wow, that's amazing.
So always step up and have an idea of what you want to do. Never be afraid to ask. The worst thing that can happen is people say no, but most of the times, if you actually ask, people say yes. It's my experience.
So should we, congratulations already, have you been accepted for the master's program, or you have other requirements?
I still have to see if I passed core, which I think I did, but yes. So you can still congratulate me for passing.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, Petia. So the next panelist is Rosario. Hi, Rosario, and thank you for joining us today.
Hi, Gwen. Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. It's really such an honor.
So tell us about yourself, how I know you have a baby, and how do you manage the work-life balance, and where are you coming from, and which course have you taken at Harvard?
Okay, so I come from Cartagena, Colombia, which is a town in northern coast in the Caribbean of Colombia. And that's actually where I studied, where I started my career. So I studied communication and always, always driving for excellence, of course. So I was really demanding with myself. So first semester, I got second best GPA in the university. And my dad, who's also very demanding, was like, second, why? I was like, oh my God, seriously? Like, it's like, I beat a lot of people for that. So next semester, I got the best GPA. Afterwards, I didn't continue to get the best. I was top 10, but so I basically studied most of my career with scholarship because of that. And then when I graduated in Colombia, it's a prerequisite for graduation to present this exam, depending on your area of study. So I actually got 7th best national in communication and information area in that exam. So, and even my professors were betting. I got, my radio professor was like, what, 7? I bet you would be in top 5. So I guess all these expectations, it's also motivation because I have people who believed in me, and that inspired me to keep on going. Because of that result in that exam, I got a scholarship to do a master's in my university. However, my university did not offer at the time a master's in communication. I, I've always liked corporate communication, so I took international business, which for me made sense. If I want to communicate in the corporate world, I might as well understand it. um, but that took me to a slightly different path than I had planned. So when I graduated, I started working as executive assistant in this hotel business, luxury hotel multinational, and I loved it. Surprisingly, at first I was like, um, it's not what I studied for. Like, it's not specifically in communication. But then working hand in hand with the president, with the CEO of the company, it's really encouraging, and you get the chance to propose what you want to do. You get the chance to propose projects and work in so many different areas. So I got married pretty young, and while I was young, my husband got offered well, I was married at 22, so that's pretty young for girls here. So when I was in this job, my husband got offered a very interesting job in Bogota. So we moved here. We're actually right now in Bogota. And well, I had around 9 months of unemployment in which I kept on studying French. I already spoke Spanish and English, of course, Spanish, my native language. And so I took intensive French. And surprise, surprise, I got another executive assistant job at this French multinational mass consumption company.
Wow.
So I guess that was definitely some help. I say, people usually say, like professional and personal life. I say I have three. I say I have personal, professional, and academic, because I'm always studying. So I kept studying French, and in this company, I grew from being EA in Colombia to be EA in Latin America, and which was pretty awesome because now I covered more area, and I got the chance to propose even more projects. And I did focus in communication. So I started handling communications for Latin America for this company and crisis communications. And that was really exciting. But then I already had 7 years of marriage, and we were starting to think about a family. And all of what you girls, women, ladies have said, it's true. We do multitask and we do juggle. But then when you want to take that decision between family or work, or maybe both, you do think about it, and there are lots of judgments to women in that sense. So if you have children and you continue to work, there's the guilt of leaving your child, or if if you leave your work, then seriously you're going to be a housewife all of your life. So I got to that break point, and we still decided to go for the family. I left my job at the moment after nearly 5 years of being there, and I got pregnant 1 month after, only to find out that there was no heartbeat 2 months later. So
Sorry.
I had a miscarriage, and I'm sorry if I get a little emotional here, but that was a break point in my life, because we don't talk about this a lot, and nearly 1 in 4 pregnancies don't end as expected. So I didn't know this, and I started feeling like a failure as a woman, of course, because my body didn't do what it was supposed to do. I didn't have a job. It was devastating, as you can see, and I'm sorry for this. I wasn't expecting this. I thought I was ready to talk about this without crying. So after the miscarriage, because God wanted it this way, I got a job, which really helped me overcome that a little bit. I don't think you ever overcome that. And to all women that go through this, we are mothers, we feel that love. So this job kept me, interested in other things, helped me move on a little bit. But I definitely wasn't okay my husband wasn't okay as well. Men also suffer with this, of course, not at the extent of women, because we have it in our own body.
Of course.
So we decided to leave everything in Colombia. We left our jobs, we sold the house, we sold car, we sold everything, and we went to Spain, where my husband is actually studying his PhD, and I already had a master's, but I didn't feel ready for a PhD. So I decided to go to a second master's. And I was like,
Wow.
God, really? Some people say like, why? You know, the normal step is, but I really, you know, this gave me a chance to rethink myself. And I decided, you know, I really want to work in communication. This is what I want to do. This is what, you know, what really interested me in the first place. So I went there to study a master's in communication, communication and culture at Universidad de Sevilla. That was interesting. However, Sevilla, it's one of the, it's in Andalusia, and that's one of the regions in Spain with the most unemployment. So it wasn't that easy. And we did run all of our budget, all of our savings. However, we really loved that experience, and it gave us a chance, you know, to grow as persons, as professionals, and as a family, you know, in a couple. We needed to get away from everything, and this was great in all senses. I mean, I loved my master's, I loved university. I finally, after so many years, got to do what I really wanted, um, even if it was studying. And then we came back to Colombia because of a job offer again for my husband. And again, surprise, surprise, 2 months later, after Connects, actually, I between Spain and Colombia, I did Connects. And 2 months later, I got pregnant again.
Yay.
Yes. So my rainbow baby, I realized this doesn't happen for all women. But it was, well, it was a roller coaster of emotions. You know, I was excited, of course. I remember the first thing I said was, thank you. Like, thank you, really, thank you. I needed this. But also terrifying after a miscarriage. You know, you have all these fears that's
Of
going to be
course.
like the last time. And then I also hadn't worked for around a year. And I was like, okay, so I hadn't worked for a year. Now I'm having a baby. So it's another year. Um, so, you know, as it was said, companies usually don't take people who women who are pregnant. So I thought, you know, this is like 3 years of my life, no working,
Mhm.
and this is going to be awful. This is going to look awful in my CV, such a gap. But then I had my baby. Oh, also the pandemic started, and I had my baby during the pandemic. And so I was alone at the hospital at the moment. I wasn't allowed to have my husband with me, or anyone in the family with me. My
Oh,
husband was in
really? I was
hospital.
allowed to, to have my husband with me, but he could not leave the hospital for 24 hours.
Well, he was at hospital, just not directly with me,
Mhm.
like right next to me.
Mhm.
And turns out I had actually had a complication, and I had to get an emergency C-section.
Um,
um, it was actually really terrifying, especially after what happened before, you know. And well, Lulu actually was born. She wasn't breathing when she was born, so she was with oxygen. Um, but that's that's something else. So anyway, I had my baby in April, my baby girl. Finally, I had my rainbow baby, and I love her. And I think she's like the biggest achievement in my life. You know, it's the best thing to be a mom. And then everything started setting up into place. So it was great. I actually got a job offer. So November was interesting. I got a call. So this company was working with with an American university that was entering the Latino market to help adapt courses in Spanish. And I was like, I'm totally in. This is super exciting. I've always liked academia, so it is like awesome. But that's just like an occasional job, you know, like every once in a while. And then Danny, the organizer of the Bogota chapter of HBS Online, called me, and he was like, you know, I have to do other things. I can't do this. So I had proposed a series of speakers before. So he was like, you know, I'll recommend you. So I got the interview, and then the HBS Online Bogota chapter organizer, which is great. We've continued with that series that I proposed, by the way, so you're all invited. And then mid-December, I get a job offer for this wonderful company, ed tech company, to work in communication full time. And I was like, seriously, I can't believe this. I mean, what are the odds of having, you know, a job in the middle of the pandemic, after a gap in your CV, after a baby, and be it your dream job? You know, it's like full-time communication in a company whose mission I believe in, with a great team. So I think everything was set into place once I loved my path. You know, once I decided to acknowledge and to embrace it. We're not always, and we usually see people in the top of their success, but we're not always there. You know, we have to go um, through tough moments, and I guess my message is just love where you are right now and give it your best. Of course, work for the future, but love and embrace what you're doing at the moment, because for some reason you're there, and it's all gonna, you know, work out for you. So keep on working and keep on loving and keep on, you know, doing what you do.
Thank you so much, Rosario, for sharing your achievements and challenges with us. You know, we all really much appreciate that you speak up about your most challenging days today with other women, and you were very inspiring for all of us. And thank you so much for this.
Thank you.
So the next panelist is Mona. Excuse me. Hi, Mona, and thank you for joining us today. So tell us a bit about yourself. I know you're in Canada, you're located in Canada, but tell us about your experience, about your company. What do you do in your company? I guess you are an entrepreneur, and also tell us about your course, which you have taken at Harvard.
Thank you so much. I have to say I'm very humbled, and I feel very grateful to listen to everyone's stories, and, you know, to share the opportunity of a little bit of my journey and what led me to start my own company, Head Start Business Solutions Consulting, and how eventually I found myself taking the business analytics course at Harvard in order to add value to my career and my coaching clients and consulting clients. So going way back, when I was 10, I wrote a piece titled "How to Become Successful." It read as follows: to become successful, one starts out with a dream. To make that dream a reality, one must work very hard at it. If one works hard enough, nothing is impossible. When life knocks you down, always try to land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. Each of us have talents, and if we use those talents, they will be our guide. Life is a quest of faith, hope, and honor. One must choose the right path. Sometimes the right path is not the easy one, so don't take shortcuts if you fall. Get up and keep going, because if success is your goal, then success and only success it will be. In the end, it is not about what we have achieved. It is about what we have become. With courage and your dreams in mind, you will love life. There are 3 steps to become successful. 1, find your dream. 2, try to make that dream real. 3, keep working at it, because practice makes perfect. Age 10. And then life happened. Somewhere along the way, I got lost. I got lost in my own head, lost in a self-deprecating narrative. I stopped believing in myself. I stopped valuing myself, and I didn't act in a way that was respectful of myself. I also absolutely did not set healthy boundaries. I found myself to be in my middle late 20s, insecure and terrified of having my own opinion, of using my voice or putting my education or brain power to any good use. Something extremely devastating and shocking happened in my personal life around 4 years ago that in one moment changed everything. I remember at the time feeling so lost. I was so uncomfortable. I literally had to sit myself down and make a choice to stand up for myself. I was a young woman without direction, without a purpose. And then finally, I had my first of many aha moments, my first big light bulb. I knew that I had to start acting in a way consistently that would move myself forward towards my goals and give my life and the work I do meaning and purpose. Intelligence without self-worth or confidence is, in my opinion, useless. Now, I'm not talking about having an ego, as we are all a unique blend of strengths, skills, weaknesses, experiences, and opinions that in the right blending of circumstances can direct us to purposeful living. What I am talking about is accepting myself as a human being with flaws, and shifting the way I had lived my life to compassionately assess what I didn't or don't like about myself and take every day, even the smallest steps forward to make changes, to be better and to do better. I had, through my traumatic experience, finally started to rely on myself and to show up for myself. So now I'm able to consistently show up for others, for the people I love and the people that inspire me and that are passionate about what they want to do with their lives, for the people I work for and with, and for the amazing clients I have whose determination and willingness to engage and work towards solutions also inspires me. There are things I'm not good at, some of which I'm learning through Harvard. You know, I started the business analytics course there, and it was so beneficial, and I look forward to taking more courses in the future. It's an extraordinary blessing, or a silver lining of COVID, if you will, that it opens up the doors of education to us, you know, from our own homes. And you know, there are some things I can't do and I'm not good at. That's also okay, because while we can do anything, we can't, nor should we attempt to do everything. So what does this mean? To me, it means that while I'm working on continuing my path of self-growth and learning, it's absolutely okay to be imperfect. I won't be the best fit for every client, and some people, no matter how hard I could try, just won't and never will like me. Because at the end, I think for all of us, especially as intelligent, inspired women, it's not just about what we achieve. It's about the type of person we become. It's about who else we can help and how we can show through our consistent action that we love the people we love and we care about them. And finding freedom within our own self as we have the opportunity to enjoy the pleasure of our own company as we move through the journey of our lives. We cannot predict the future. COVID has taught us all that. But we can adapt, and we can make the commitment to ourselves and for those we love to keep showing up, to keep learning, to keep growing, to keep moving through life in a way that shows through our actions and our willingness to continue moving forward, that we embrace ourselves and we can embrace each other and inspire and motivate each other to be the best versions of ourselves. Us women who are here today are here because of the courage of the generations of women and those who supported them, who stood before us not so very long ago. These people, these strong people, these women have carved out opportunities for us now that were not achievable to them in their own lifetime. I believe that if we each consistently make the choice to keep showing up and to lead, We're never too sad to start again. We're never too lost to find our way back. We're never too broken to pick up the pieces and chase our dreams, whatever that is, whatever unique, amazing blend that looks like for all of us. And we are never and will never be alone when we find ourselves lucky enough to be in the company of extraordinary, intelligent, competent women like yourselves, like my fellow panelists, who understand that we all rise by lifting each other up, and we honor and celebrate not only ourselves, but of those who stood before us and those yet to come. That's my, coming together of my own experiences and my hope to really say, it is so amazing to hear everyone's stories, and I'm so honored to be able to listen, to have this opportunity as well, to be connected through our association at Harvard University. I mean, it wasn't so long ago that education wasn't even an option for women,
Right.
and it's just amazing, and it really, I'm so grateful that we're all here together in this moment. So
Thank you so much, Mona. And it's unbelievable. You wrote the poem when you were 10. I was in shock when listening you, and I want to have a copy of your poem if it's okay. And I'm sure many of us would have the same request. So if you can share the poem with me, I will gladly share it with other participants if you would like.
I would love.
It's someone wrote it in the chat. Carla wrote it that words of wisdom, and I agree with her. So I want to get a poem.
It's handwritten. It's a photocopy of the original.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely, yes, you can all have it.
More special, like, actually. That's even more special. So thank you so much. And now the last panelist is Emi. Hi, Emi. Thanks for joining us. Emi is from Japan, and I want you to share about yourself, your achievements, your background. Where are you coming from, and which course have you taken?
Hello, everyone in the world. This is Emi Shitara from Japan. Thank you for coming to join us and having me, dear Gwen. I'm honored and humbled to join you today as a global panelist. And thanks again, dear organizer Gwen, for having such a wonderful event. I love to join it. I've completed the course of Harvard Business School online, leading with finance, negotiation mastery, and sustainable business strategy as an inaugural cohort. And in Japan, I'm doing the social entrepreneur and social impact to leaders, including sustainable development goals, and the business consultant, global speakers, and mentor, like that. And I'm very passionate about leadership, social leadership from the scratch. And today, I have many stories, but respect the time limit. Let me introduce myself briefly. Based on the Harvard Business School online community, I'm Harvard Business School online Tokyo chapter organizer, co-founded in 2018 as one of the global inaugural community chapters. Since then, I have been leading Japan and Asia community and global, and featured Harvard Business School professors at the Harvard Business School online official event, Connect, at the event campus, as well as being featured on the official website of Harvard Business School as a community organizers. I have also organizing Harvard Business School online community virtual event at Tokyo chapter, so you can join us if you like. In addition, I've been supporting and mentoring, giving advices to other Harvard Business School global chapter community organizers as one of the old, active, experienced community organizers, while often helping and supporting the office of Harvard Business School online in Boston. Recently, I also cooperate to focus group by Professor Foley with other global experts from Harvard Business School online community for Harvard Business School Digital Task Force, which established by Dean of Harvard Business School earlier this year to aim to transform the way Harvard Business School works. In 2020, last year, some of the highlights and some of the most memorable contribution to Harvard Business School from my side are two things mainly. First, to organize and host the international live session with Professor Rebecca Henderson from Harvard Business School, the professor of sustainable business strategy. And the second is that saving the Harvard Business School MBA classes from COVID pandemic with global volunteer peers of Harvard Business School online. It was a historical moment in Harvard, as you might know, in the last year. Though I have a hard time to survive myself, I have been contributing to this project on 3 seasons since last March in 2020, August and January this year. And over 25 times of the sessions for Harvard Business School professors and lecturers in the midnight here in Japan, after while bearing in cold degree in winter. Now I hope our efforts will make the help of new MBA students of Harvard Business School. I remember the day with global peers. It was an amazing moment with enthusiasm and passion. Our contributions are very invaluable to help faculties. Therefore, we need to leave the voice of contributors to future global leaders who will refer and review our leadership in unprecedented crisis someday. So now we are working on archive project to contribute and present it to Harvard Library for future global leaders. The idea comes from the heroes list in Harvard Memorial Church and the lessons of Great East Japan earthquake, which occurred 10 years ago. As a Japanese citizen, we should remember it for saving future generations. Now, I believe that the idea should also apply to COVID situation in Harvard for saving and helping future generations from the similar risk of crisis in the future. I hope you all kindly support the idea and this initiative project. So I will close my talk now. Over to Gwen. Please contact me if you have any questions. Thank you so much for listening. I hope it encouraged you. Over to Gwen.
Thank you so much, Emi. Thanks for sharing about yourself, and thanks for joining us today. We don't have much time left, but if you have any questions for our panelists today, you are more than welcome to raise your hand or just unmute yourself. So you will have a chance to talk to them. Let's see here. Okay, if there's no questions, it looks like all panelists covered everything perfectly well. So thank you, Emi, Petia, Rosario, Ijeoma, and Mona. Thank you so much for being so honest and inspiring for me and other community members. I appreciate your participation, and I look forward to the next. Oh, my babies are back. So on the 26th, I'm going to organize another event with different panelists because I participated today as a panelist and as the moderator. So next time we will have 6 panelists. So they will share their stories. They will inspire and encourage all of us. So I very much look forward to it. If you want to be one of the panelists, send me an email at gwen@speakersalliance.ca. So I already have 20 people in the list, but I would love to hear from you. Thank you, everyone, and have a nice rest of the day or good night. Bye, everyone.
Thank you so much.